Good afternoon and warm welcome to Thanos Beam, where curiosity meets conversations, taking us a step further into the future with desire. I am Sunes Nathaniel, and today on the program, we'll be looking at fighting fire, kidnappers, and bandits within the FCT using drones. As always, let's begin with our top tweets from the passing week and a synopsis that highlights the urgent need to secure the Federal Capital Territory. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
For some weeks now, Plateau State seemed to have remained in the news only for very sad reasons. Just when one thought the fire in Magu had been put out, another attack left at least 30 persons dead, and the violence continued to degenerate, with some youths within the Tropich community turning against security operatives who had come to restore peace. Abuja has also not left the news, even as security breaches continue to stir concerns. An explosion in Maitama made many worry that a bomb might have gone within the metropolis. However, it turned out to be an explosion caused by overheated metal refuse. Away from security, but still not a cherry news, the popular comedian John Okafor, whose leg was recently amputated, got back to the trends, and this time around, it was because the police arrested his son and foster daughter for defrauding the actor of 55 million naira donation. Ending on a more cheerful note, the round of 16 match between Nigeria and Cameroon, which ended in the Eagles' favor, brought back smiles on the faces of millions of Nigerians, as many had their doubts cleared about the quality and performance of the Super Eagles at AFCON 2023.
Security matters in the Federal Capital Territory, where the Minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, is urging residents not to panic, as all hands are on deck to address the rising kidnappings and other threats. He frowned at what he described as the inactiveness of area council chairmen and challenged them to carry out their duties effectively. Mr. Wike gave the assurance while briefing the press before going into a closed-door session with security agents and area council chairmen in Abuja.
All of us are aware of the security situation in the Federal Capital Territory, particularly Buhari and some other areas that were witnessed security challenges. Yes, I'm aware that sometimes too the press overblow what is happening. But all of us are concerned as the Federal Capital Territory that houses virtually every Nigerian. We owe a duty to make sure that this place is safe. We'll do all we can. And we're sure Nigerians who reside here that there's no need for panic. We're taking every step to make sure that those challenges are things that we must have to resolve. So this meeting is practically to look into such challenges and see how we'll be able to resolve the problems. We are not sleeping. Security agencies are also not sleeping. We provide every support that they require in order to allay the fears of the citizens.
Thanks for staying with us, and a hearty welcome to those who might just be joining us now. As stated earlier on this highly engaging episode of the program, we'll be looking at fighting fire, kidnappers, and bandits within the FCT using drones. Joining me right now in our Abuja studio to do justice to this topic is Mr. Ademola Lawal, a certified and highly accomplished drone pilot who has spearheaded and coordinated several drone operations across diverse landscapes in Nigeria, South Africa, and Rwanda. He is the lead consultant of Propel Aerial Services. You're welcome, Mr. Lawal.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to always have somebody who has all that insight to give us today in the studio, because these are really very important issues we need to discuss.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's get straight to it. I think I'll begin with the question as to how can drones be strategically deployed to effectively combat fires, and address the kidnapping incidents, and all the banditry activities within this unique geographical location. The FCT is very unique. How can we deploy drones in this stead?
So first and foremost, drones allow you to immediately deploy by way of, sorry, I'm using the same word, but the thing is the ease and the quickness with which you can deploy a drone, okay? A drone is basically a drone in our hands, not bigger than the size of maybe 5, maybe 2, 3, inches, 20 about, weighs about 20 milligrams or so, or 22 grams or so. That drone can go about 7 kilometers, and you can deploy that drone within I think 2-3 minutes. So if you can deploy something that can see 7 kilometers within 2-3 minutes, right? It means that if you are in different locations within the FCT, you can have eyes in the sky to the tune of maybe about 40-50 kilometers, depending on the amount of drones that you have. So you can deploy quickly. It will give you instant situational awareness, and also it will give you an overview of what is going on in real time. So the information is not delayed, it's almost instant. I can deploy a drone and immediately connect the feed from that drone to YouTube. You can log in and instantly see what I'm seeing. You understand? So it gives you almost immediate instant response to any situation that you immediately want to see.
All right, so it's about how instantaneous it can be. It's about how much you can get that feedback.
Yes, it's really quick.
All right, let's ask you them. Speak to us about advanced surveillance, because that's what you're talking about right now. The capabilities of drone. What do they really bring to the table after just surveillance? What's the extra in combating these various threats?
Okay, so I've been advising for a while, and I've been discussing for a while about the benefits of drones. I've spoken to quite a number of agencies, some security, some just doing civil stuff. And the most important thing is there's no way you can cover a large area anymore, without using drones, as a matter of fact. So if you hear about the war in Ukraine and stuff, it's basically a drone war now, pretty much. You understand? Because you can cover a really large area. Like I explained earlier on, we have equipment in my company that takes us 5 minutes to deploy. And that can actually cover 40 kilometers. So you can have a 40-kilometer radius covered in 5 minutes, right, of deployment. And it has a thermal camera. It zooms, and then you're able to also do search and rescue. So if you were in any area whatsoever, let's say you were in a remote area, in a forest or whatever, the thermal camera allows us to be able to track your body temperature.
Body heat, yeah.
So everything that is above a certain temperature, obviously we can see. So, and currently we deploy, say we're doing 160 kilometers daily right now of surveillance. So we're able to see 160 kilometers every night.
Wow.
You understand? And if anything moves, you can see it. So the idea that you can create an immediate blanket over a certain area, you understand, as soon as you recognize the fact that, we want to cover this area, a drone will do that instantly.
Okay, I'm guessing this is also what it does is perhaps does it reduce the risk when it comes to having our troops and our security personnel getting into certain different places? Is that one of those very important things it does?
I would say I can almost tell you it will eliminate it. I'm not saying reduce. Eliminate is the word. So if you don't want to lose personnel, send a drone. The reason why there is a drone war in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, is those could have been people.
Yeah.
So every time you wanted to send a person, you could have been a person you sent, right? But instead, send a drone. So a drone will do the same thing whilst giving you real-time information about what it is that you're doing. Because you can see what the drone is seeing in real time. right? And you can see from the lens of the drone, what it is that, it's doing. So if it's going to a target, you can see it. If you're surveying an area, you can see it. And the intelligent parts of it is that as your drone goes, right, it also maps, okay? So it gives you ground references that you can use for future planning as well.
Oh, beautiful. I think we're talking more of the major security aspects. Talk to me about fire and drones.
Okay, so I had a conversation with someone a while ago, and he asked me a very specific question, and he said, why don't we buy more fire engines? Why do we need drones? And I said, well, the thing is, there are two aspects to a fire, right? There's the property that's actually burning, if you think about it. Mm-hmm. And then there's the people who might be involved, right? And which is the more important of the two? The person, right? Because your property is insured, but the person isn't. So the first thing you want to do, right, in a fire is to make sure that there's no one in that fire or there's no one in harm's way, right? Mm-hmm. So the first thing you need, whilst you need your fire engines and co, right, the first thing you need is to be able to see what is going on. So situational awareness as it is. So you want to have thermal cameras. You want to be able to see inside the building. You want the drones to have speakers on them. You need to be able to make announcements. So if the fire was going to expand as it is, you can say to people, you need to leave the area.
With the drones?
Yes. So the drones do that. You can attach cameras, you can attach lights, you can attach speakers. So if you needed to keep making an announcement, for instance, right, to say clear the area, you can record the message instantly. It's not like you have to pre-record it, as a matter of fact. Once the payload is on the drone, all you do is make the announcement inside and it relays it from the drone, and it will keep doing that until you ask it to stop. So the idea that, you need more equipment, and it doesn't have to be the biggest drones in the world, okay? So, because as technology gets better, it gets smaller, right? Mm-hmm. Exactly. So more drones are packed with, more payloads, more sensors that allow you to do more amazing stuff. So the first thing you want to do, if you ask me, fire or any type of emergency response, you want to stack up on drones. You want to train as many people as possible so that you don't have to rely on your colleague who is sick, who's gone home, or somebody who's not feeling well or whatever. Everyone should be able to pick it up. It's almost like how you teach people, if somebody collapses in an office, everyone should be able to resuscitate the person, right? Exactly. So in any organization where you have first responders, basically everyone there should be trained on how to, immediately deploy equipment.
Are you saying right now that almost everybody should be able to operate a drone?
Yeah, well, if you're a first responder, I suggest, that is where we should be thinking. So, anyone should be certified enough to be able to understand what they're doing, to be able to deploy the drone, at least hold it in a position where the rest of us can then get in there. Because once the drone is in the air, right, we can relate with the drone. So if you had to broadcast what the drone was doing for information management, your MD doesn't have to be there, or whoever it is in charge of it doesn't have to be in that place, right? So as soon as the drone is in the air, basically they can call me and say to me, the drone is in the air, it's in position, what are we doing now?
All right, quickly, just before we go on the break, I was going to ask you, there's no way I was going to hide this question. How much artificial intelligence is going into these operations, especially in your operations right now?
Oh, well, everything. The first thing we did was, as soon as we started noticing the rise of AI and stuff, we started certifying ourselves and training ourselves more, just to see where AI meets drones and then how it meets the services in the future. So we basically deploy it in all our deep learning. Okay, AI is almost like a learning tool, and then it learns it and it helps you to modify how you operate. So for instance, like I said to you earlier on, sometimes we fly over a site, right? And then once you've gone over this area, it's already in the memory of your system, right? So applying AI means that the next time you fly over it, right, the operator may not even have to notice it. The AI recognizes the changes that have occurred from the last flight. And then that helps us to also remember the path we flew. So if I've flown a site now, I basically just have to come back to that same mission and say, go again.
I think that's let's take a pause there. I think that's a very good place to hold it till we'll come back. We'll be taking a short break, and when we return, we'll be looking at the regulatory challenges, and collaborations between various government agencies, even as we look at how to fortify the security within the FCT and Nigeria in general using drones. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Channels Beam coming to you live from our studio in Abuja. Demola Lawal is the adroit guest in our studio today, and we're still looking at fighting fire, kidnappers, and bandits within the FCT using unmanned drones. Let's go now to the payloads, Mr. Lawal. Let's go to the payloads. Let me ask you, this specialized payload, explain to us, the equipment integrated on the drones and the challenges of delivering, for firefighting majorly. These payloads, what are the challenges that might arise when you're using it for firefighting and maybe other challenging terrains in Nigeria? Our terrains can be very challenging.
Okay, so thanks again. Like I said, we've been in drone deployments now for about 8 years. I'm not talking about trying to fly. We've been actually physically flying drones and deploying them across Nigeria for about 8 years. So, and I'm talking everywhere across Nigeria. So, and the equipment keeps getting better. So the equipment itself makes it easy for you to be able to, so not one equipment is going to be able to solve everything. So there are maybe two or three categories of drones. There are drones that are designed that look like planes, right? And those are called fixed wing drones. Those drones, you fly straight and then you basically, they're good for surveillance, long range surveillance, okay? And then there's some other drones that are multi-copters. They're multi-wings, so they allow you to multi-rotors, they say. So they are like quadcopters, I'm sure, like the ones you've seen at weddings and co, exactly. So the idea behind those is they allow you to fly vertically. So imagine you had to inspect or you had to try and rescue somebody from a high-rise building. Exactly. So it allows you to stay in place. Now there's drones that allow you to fly, stay in place, track a person in a building. The drone itself, which is where AI comes in, AI will track the person by itself. So once you say find a person, anything above this temperature, track it and stay there. It will track it and it will stay there. Now there's some new drones that we were investigating there from China, okay? And these ones allow you to connect to a fire hose, to the hose, right, like a water reservoir, and then basically fly the drone all the way up to the height and then try and spray it. Implementation is a bit challenging because of language. So we've had one of our partners basically from China come in to try and, so we can basically understand the system a lot more. Some of these systems are basic enough for us to replicate ourselves. So what we really want to understand is the system itself, because we currently spray agricultural farmlands, okay? We use drones for agriculture. And what we do is we put pesticides, we put fertilizer in the drones. And these drones basically go and spray farms and other things, right? So we're thinking if we scale that up, right, we would be able to spray
water.
Yes, exactly. But then you look at it, it sprays from the bottom, okay? So it can spray a farm. But now you want to spray into directly a building, exactly, which is where this new product comes in. So the challenge will be R&D and a lot of testing time. So you need funding for it, okay? So we wanted to buy a few more of this equipment and be able to test on a bigger scale. And then also to collaborate with maybe the Federal Fire Service and then to see the practicality of it. Because in fairness, they have a school, they have training schools. So it would be fantastic to basically integrate with such a thing and then basically then start training, in line with that to be able to say, okay, how can you deploy this in mass?
All right, yeah, it's really inspiring to hear things like this, because I think it goes a long way in saving a lot of people. Especially when the fires, there's almost like a time when there's a fire season, when there's almost a fire everywhere.
Yes, like the markets, how people always constantly complain about how markets always, get burnt. So it should be that there is a market and the Federal Fire Service there, like how you pay taxes, right? So you can pay like a fire insurance charge, okay, or something. Each store can pay that. That allows you to...
I'm glad you have brought that up. Now you're talking taxes, so we're going into regulations. Yes. Are there regulations that pose challenges right now, as to the use of drones to fight fire and, do stuff that we're talking about right now?
So we're licensed, and it took us a while to get licensed. And it means, vetting. So in all fairness, right, drones are regulated like aircraft, all right? If you're flying your drone, you need to tell us where you're flying. You need to state where you're flying, why you're flying, who you're flying for, basically all your information. So how you would have like an airplane company or like an airline company come in and basically start flying, in Nigeria, but they would have to register their routes and then the types of planes and the pilots and everything. It's the same for drones. So, but a couple of people just want to buy equipment off the shelf, right? And then basically start flying. No, you can't, because you're basically sharing the airspace with planes as well. So if you think about the safety implications of it, you're in the same airspace as a manned aircraft, but there are drones, there are human beings in there, right? Your drone is unmanned. So you should even go through more, it's like how
Scrutiny.
a commercial scrutiny, exactly. A commercial pilot is more, the training level is higher than a person who is a solo pilot, for instance, because it's your plane, it's your life.
Just you.
Exactly. But even to some extent, you still can crash into people. So you have to have the basics. But the commercial pilot obviously has more people in their hands. So also a person who has drones, has the responsibility of being able to. So the challenges have been, I would say it's more from a, let's do things properly. So I don't see any problems with the regulations. I just think you need to take your time to go through it. And it will help you see what it is you're trying to achieve, in my opinion.
All right, that's a good one. Quickly, we are just about closing. Tell us, looking at privacy and flying drones, the privacy of individuals and flying drones, blend that with how drone technology can be integrated into the activities within the FCT. Can you just blend that?
Okay, so we have really strict laws in Nigeria about, whose property you can fly over. We have no-fly zones. Already so there's a FIR chat. It's like a aerial chat, right? That shows you where you can and cannot fly. So there are military keep-out zones. In the FCT, for instance, you probably have more than you would have in a regular state, in another state, for instance, because there are a lot of military formations around here. So because some of these flights are being done in coordination with some military agencies as well. So I guess those regulatory oversights might not be an issue. But again, we have very strong privacy laws in Nigeria already. You can't fly over people's buildings. You shouldn't fly over people's buildings. You shouldn't fly over military establishments and stuff. I think other than that, the people who do all these kidnappings and things that, we're looking for are not in people's buildings. They're in the bush. So I guess we don't have a challenge going after those types of people.
It's talking about the potency of drones before we just finally leave. The potency of drones. Speak to it as to how you can see this really play out in resecuring Nigeria. Resecuring, that's what I'm saying, making it extra fortified. Okay,
so there are a few companies that have been certified to fly drones. And if you ask me, we have equipment that can basically in our sphere, just my company, and a few companies I know, the amount of distances we cover in a day, right, is somewhere around what I would say 500, 600 kilometers, right? So if between 3 certified companies who have been vetted by the security agencies to be able to carry out drone operations can conduct 500, can conduct flights over like 500 kilometers. And obviously we can expand that, right? So what it is I think there should be a partnership between the military, some of these certified private companies, so that we can expand our scope of coverage, so that we can provide this information in real time, and then the agencies can go and do what they need to do. And don't forget, whilst they're there, we can also still be in the air, providing them with ground information on, where to go, where they are, and routes as well.
All right, thank you. I wish we had more time. I'm so loving the discussion, because it's something about the future, and I am very interested in the future of Nigeria and how we can be a very great nation, totally secured.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Anytime you want, I will come back.
All right, thank you very much.
Cheers.
Friends, that's our time on The Beam today. Thank you for staying tuned. And don't forget that we can continue this conversation via social media. Tweet at us on X using the hashtags that are going to be showing on your screen, and let us know what more do you think can be done to secure the nation. As usual, we'll be leaving you with our top 5 most viewed videos of the week. I am Sunes Nathaniel, and till we meet again next week, it's my hope that as we soar into the future, these drones will not just navigate our skies, but will also navigate us towards a safer and more secure FCT and Nigeria. Bye for now.
So where we are presently,
This week, we begin our most viewed countdown with an interview video in which the Nigerian Immigration Service revealed that it has received over 46,000 applications following its passport automation upgrade.
That we enhance our services with technology, and we are determined to ensure that we put an end to the hardship, to the difficulties that Nigerians used to encounter prior to this time in passport applications. Our help desk are available. We are available 24/7.
And I must commend the security agencies for doing something when we started to scream. But the truth is, a little bit earlier, I tried to draw their attention, and I was told that it was exaggerated. And I said it couldn't be, because what I'm telling them, I did not get from social media, I got from my constituents.
Taking the number 4 spot on the list is a clip that shows the lawmaker representing Abuja in the Senate, Senator Kingibe, stating that the FCT minister will be summoned by the upper chamber with regards to insecurity within the Federal Capital Territory.
What is causing all of this insecurity?
It's getting out of hand, really.
Third place in our countdown this week is reserved for this video, in which Senator Ali Ndume disclosed that recruits in various security agencies in Nigeria are paid less than 50,000
We don't
naira.
have enough security agencies or personnel to handle the situation, whether it's Nigerian Army, Nigerian Air Force, Nigerian police. In fact, some of these issues are supposed to be handled by police.
Ekon, the team captain, didn't play. Iwobi started on the bench.
Coming in second place on the top most viewed videos on our YouTube this week is a video from our Sports Tonight program, in which a deeper look was taken ahead of the AFCON 2023 clash between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the indomitable Lions of Cameroon.
It was also the first time.
Another glorious day for the Nigerian police force, and glorious day for our country, Nigeria.
At the top of our countdown this week is a full briefing by the Nigerian police force following the arrest of some kidnappers who have been traveling the Federal Capital Territory. 16 suspects were also paraded for various crimes.
We are working hard 24 hours. Everybody is on his toes to make sure we decimate these criminal elements and will restore peace and normalcy back to our various communities.